My name is Andrew Flederman. I'm part of the 1.618 group. I have 37 years experience in the industry. The main reason a person would want to have an offshore policy is because that if you consider how much of every rand is spent on disposable income, on purchasing anything, be it a cell phone, a car, clothing, food, you have to ask yourself how much of that spend has an offshore component. And at the moment it's sitting probably at about 80 cents out of every rand has an offshore component. So then the next question is, well, why would a dollar plan benefit me? Well, the reason for that is because the dollar plan would be positioned in the fiat currency of the world, which is the US dollar. It holds its value, and you are building up an offshore asset in a strong international currency as opposed to a declining purchasing power rand currency. In the event of a person looking at just a life cover and their death, the proceeds are paid offshore because it's already an offshore policy. It resides, it's domiciled in Guernsey, the funds are already offshore, and because it's an offshore policy, it doesn't meet the requirements that a local policy has. So if, for example, I had a child who was studying overseas and I was supporting them, paying for their education, paying for their flat accommodation, etc., and I died, and I made them a beneficiary of a local policy, they would have to come back to South Africa for that local policy to pay out. It's illegal for any local life insurance policy to pay a beneficiary offshore. So what Discovery has very, very cleverly done is they've positioned this policy so that it's already offshore, so that in that example, my son, for example, who's studying in the UK, would have funds at his disposal in the UK, would have uninterrupted cash flow, never mind having lost his father, but he wouldn't have had to come back to South Africa and then go through all the loops and hoops to get the money offshore, which is expensive. So the tax savings on the dollar life is that because it's an offshore policy, it doesn't meet the requirements of a domestic policy, which means that if you die locally and you have a local life insurance policy, then the proceeds are a deemed asset. The second you die, SARS sees that as what's called a deemed asset. It's deemed to be an asset on death. So if you've got a 10 million life policy and you drop dead locally, that 10 million is added to the size of your estate. It attracts executors fees, which is 20% under 30 million, and 25% above 30 million. So the dollar plan is offshore, so it doesn't pay any estate duty, doesn't pay executors fees, doesn't pay master's fees. It's completely free of any taxes whatsoever.